Sento la pace and welcome back. Thank you for joining me and continuing this journey. So, we're reading The Power of Now, and this is the second chapter now. Consciousness, the way out of pain. Create no more pain in the present. Nobody's life is entirely free of pain and sorrow. Isn't it a question of learning to live with them rather than trying to avoid them? The greater part of human pain is unnecessary. It is self-created as long as the unobserved mind runs your life. The unobserved mind runs your life. I just want to interject, Buddha said, the mind makes a better servant than master, right? There's another one, and it might be something that Bruce Lee said, but it's not there completely, so we'll skip that. The unobserved, as long as the unobserved mind runs your life, the pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. Resist what we resist persists, right? Some form of unconscious resistance to what is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. On the emotional level, it is some form of negativity. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment, and this in turn depends on how strongly you are identified with your mind. The mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. In other words, the more you are identified with your mind, the more you suffer. Or you may put it like this: the more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. Why does the mind habitually deny or resist the now? Because it cannot function and remain in control without time, which is past and future. So it perceives the timeless now as threatening. Time and mind are in fact inseparable. Imagine the earth devoid of human life, inhabited only by plants and animals. Would it still have a past and a future? Could we still speak of time in any meaningful way? The question, what time is it, or what's the date today, if anybody were there to ask it, would be quite meaningless. The oak tree or the eagle would be bemused by such a question. What time? They would ask. Well, of course, it's now. The time is now. What else is there? Yes, we need the mind as well as time to function in this world. But there comes a point where they take over our lives, and this is where dysfunction, pain, and sorrow set in. The mind, to ensure that it remains in control, seeks continuously to cover up the present moment with past and future. And so, as the vitality and infinite creative potential of being, which is inseparable from the now, becomes covered up by time, your true nature becomes obscured by the mind. And increasingly heavy burden of time has been accumulating in the human mind. All individuals are suffering under this burden, but they also keep adding to it every moment whenever they ignore or deny that precious moment or reduce it to a means of getting to some future moment, which only exists in the mind, never in actuality. The accumulation of time in the collective and individual human mind also holds a vast amount of residual pain from the past. Now, we hear a lot of this going on right now. I mean, it's all over the place, Instagram, YouTube, and I love it. We're healing generational trauma. Yeah. If you no longer want to create pain for yourself and others, boy, that really perked me up when I read that. That was a big impetus for my change, my personal evolving. I didn't want to create any more pain for myself or others. If you no longer want to add to the residue of past pain that still lives on in you, then don't create any more time, or at least no more than is necessary to deal with the practical aspects of your life. How to stop creating time? Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Whereas before you dwelt in time and paid brief visits to the now, have your dwelling place in the now and pay brief visits to past and future when required to deal with the practical aspects of your life situation. Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to something that already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is. Say yes to life and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. And then if you've been following all along, he has a pause sign which says take some time and assimilate it, you know. So when I first was working with this material, and I myself wanted to stop creating pain for me and those around me, I had the good fortune of being in tremendous, in counseling with a tremendous therapist. So that was a big thing. But I also was highly motivated for the reasons that I've stated multiple times here already in this 8 minutes. And that is that I just wanted peace. I wanted to enjoy peace. And I did a lot of reading in my 20s. Yeah, mostly in my 20s. I absolutely loved Deepak Chopra and Dr. Wayne Dyer, both doctors, Dr. Deepak Chopra and Dr. Wayne Dyer. And this was the days before the internet, so giving away my age, but there's no secret there. This is the days before internet, and so on cassette tape, I'd buy cassette tapes, read books, and I thoroughly loved the work of those two. So listening to that type of material, I listened to a lot of Marianne Williamson, and she kind of became the spokesperson for the Course in Miracles, which talks a lot about ego. And I really, really wanted peace. So again, I was in tremendous, there's tremendous gratitude that I have for the time that I spent with the counselor that I had. And I was very motivated. And so this concept of the present moment. So what I would do to myself with myself is I could, you watch, be the third party observer, and you watch it. You watch that thing chase its tail like a dog does. And it can be relentless. And I would say, oh, God, enough already. So, okay, present moment. Look, what do I see? Colors. What do I hear? What are the sounds? I would touch, things to tactile, feel. Use the senses to come fully into the now. Be that third-party observer. Watch yourself causing yourself the pain. So I wondered whether I was going to talk about this, and I'm at the point I'm going to. I may tear up a little bit. 2 weeks ago, this past Friday, it's a Sunday that I'm taping this, my companion, my best friend, my partner of the four-legged variety, just no less important or meaningful, no less of a foundational relationship, passed away. It was a bit unexpected. There were some health problems, but I thought that there was something, I hoped that there was something that we could overcome. And I wasn't at all prepared. And that's the thing. I knew that, this is the physical realm. It was inevitable. It was a matter of when. And I also knew that I'd never be ready for that. I'd never be prepared. So the first 48 hours were so raw. And you have to work through those feelings. Those are not feelings that you can dismiss, nor should you. It's very much the serenity prayer, which I botch memes and phrases and stuff. So if I don't have it written down in front of me, I'm not going to be able to memorize it correctly, but you get the gist of it. Pretty much everybody knows it, and if you don't, look it up. So, my point in explaining this is coming to acceptance, and there's different stages of grief, and you'll move around them, not sequentially. If you're not familiar with the stages of grief, look that up. So, some friends of mine passed some things along to me video-wise. There's so much here on YouTube. I just love it. And man, can we grow, right? What an opportunity. And it's free. You just watch and listen, and you find content that makes a difference in your life. And this did. They sent me some material on pet psychics. And I know that we're souls having a human experience. I'm in this avatar, but this is my soul having the experience of this avatar. As I worked more with this material, as I was able to heal from my trauma and practice and come fully into the now and utilize what I was saying to you earlier, just coming into the body and feeling, what is this emotion? We're so conditioned to do, go, get, that we're no longer connected to our true selves. This is what this is about, recognizing the ego so that you can see what it's just the experience, so that you play this role that you come here to play. It's not who you are. It's not what you are. It's not, I knew that. So all of this comes into play because I had to grieve his loss. I still grieve his loss, you know. And sometimes my mind will do that thing where, why did this have to happen? If I did this, if I did that. And I have to watch myself be the third party observer and catch myself and say, okay, but now is the only time there is. You can't go back there. So unless you're doing a review to understand, to like kind of diagnose a situation so that you can grow from it and make, you know, better, more productive, healthier choices moving forward, then commiserating or pining is not, it's such a disservice. So you catch the mind, you know, and the more you practice this, the easier it gets. And you're not there to catch the mind and then, you know, beat the shit out of it. You know, you have to be able to trust yourself that you're going to be compassionate and understanding. So that's the process that I followed. And I've, you know, one of the things in watching the pet psychics talk and the information is, I know it resonates with me, right? So I know his soul has, is experiencing a different aspect right now. And so in the physical realm, he's not in his beautiful brindled lab pit version, but he's still with me. We have soul connections. We're all one. We're all one, agreeing to live out this experience so that we can take that to the collective. I'm sure if you've listened to any Abraham Hicks, we're here for the contrast. And we know what we're choosing before we incarnate. And that veil, it's the veil and the ego that really do us such a disservice. And not that they're bad or negative. It's part of what we chose to come in here and experience this. It's like a video game, right? That's all over information as well. That this is a matrix, that this is an experience that we, similar to when you're playing a video game, we've chosen this. You know, we picked out our avatar, and we have a whole council that works with us before we come into this choice, this decision. We've made the decision to do this, and my precious boy made the decision to incarnate as he did and be what he was to me and do what he did for me in those 6 years that we had together. And so I can say to myself, here, my perspective. I can hold the perspective that I'm grieving, and I allow myself to feel that. You cannot at the same time hold the grief and then hold gratitude. So I don't want to sit in grief, right? I want to experience it because I'm here, and it's part of what I've created in this life, and I'm going through myself and other souls that are part of our group that has made the decision to interact and be a part of our lives the way that you know, how that's playing out. So that's how I've moved past this, is his soul is doing what it's time for his soul to do. And I'm just grateful that I had those 6 years with him. What he did for my life, the growth that I was able to experience. So yes, I miss him. And at the same time, I'm happy. It's DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. There's two opposing things can exist at the same time. So However, when it comes to your heart, if you're going to fill it with gratitude, you can't experience that and grief at the same time. So I allow myself to move through the grief because that's an appropriate response. I have those feelings. So that's just a little bit about not causing yourself pain that you don't have to. I could reject it. I have gone there in my mind, and I watched the process after he passed. My mind does that. Watch it do that, and let it be okay that it's doing that. The ego isn't a bad thing. It's part of what gives us that individuation. Love it like you're growing to love yourself, or you love, your pet or your significant other or your children. I really do believe that in order to experience a deep, meaningful connection with an other, there must be that deep, meaningful connection with the self first. Where is the kingdom of heaven? Within, right? So we will do another video moving on to the next section of chapter 2. Thank you so much for joining me. I really would love to see the opportunity to interact with the community here that we'll be building on this channel. You need 1,000 subscribers to do that. So that's my goal, so that I can then go live and interact personally. I feel that I can be of best service that way. And as these videos unfold, you'll understand why. Thank you so much for joining me. And please, if you got something from this content, like, share, subscribe. You know the deal probably better than I do. I'm still learning all this stuff. And just thank you so much for being here. Peace be with you. Santo la pace.